All right, so hello everyone, glad to have you here. Don't be confused, we switch mic in between, so there will be some breaks. My name is Christoph Hoyer, I'm one of the founders of JustWatch, and I'm basically here for you to frame the talk a bit and to tell you who we are and what we do, and actually put all these decisions, why we use Snowplow and how we use it, kind of in a frame and in a business frame. So what we did, first of all, we tell you who you are. Then we have Act 1, which explains a bit our journey, why we are using Snowplow. So basically we explain you a bit what the situation was, what our core thesis were, we had to validate. And a short X-course included about our first campaign we did with JustWatch. And Act 2 to 4 is more or less from Dominik, what we built on top of Snowplow. First of all, our team, we're a round of unusually 6 founders. Everyone has its special area and it's a special topic where he or she is an expert in. Like I said, I'm responsible for all of marketing and all of our campaign activities. My background is I'm a statistic guy, and I've studied that, and I've built Kaufda, helped build the mobile marketing team and the CRM team as well, heavily supported by own internal tools. So we like building tools. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, and we're a company of 30 people based in Berlin and LA. So last week we just opened up our first office in LA, so quite proud to announce it. And yeah, what we do is we are a data and ad tech company that operates worldwide. We're focused on video advertising campaigns based on first-party data, only on YouTube and Facebook. And secondly, we own those exclusive first-party data, and we want to help the movie industry, which is our market, which is our vertical, the only vertical we are actually focusing on. We want to help them to minimize the waste coverage, since they are pretty old, habited branch that used to spend their monies on TV, and as you may all know, or I guess there's a lot of new generations, or a lot of the new generation isn't there so much anymore. So also the advertising dollar is moving into online as well, and that's where we come into play. Most of the companies just have one side, and this is usually this B2B side, the tool side and the data side, but we have both. We have also B2C side, so we run our own apps and website where we acquire traffic with SEO. So you may read through the slides already. So we're pretty experienced in generating traffic all around the world, and that's what we also do for JustWatch. So mobile marketing, SEO is our traffic driver, and we collect those first-party data points via those own platforms, and we connect it with our internal B2B, our own, which is the ad tech part, teams. Of these 30 people, approximately 20 of them are working on this internal tech stack under the lead of Dominik. To show you a bit what our data looks like. Our USP is really not only that we have movie taste data, which you can see when someone just watches a kind of a where-to-watch platform, you can find where-to-watch content legally. So be it streaming online on Netflix, or you can rent it or buy it on iTunes, or the movie's in the cinema. So we will show you where it plays and what the showtime is and which cinema in your area just show it. And so if you want to a platform for where to watch content legally, and all these data points of all our users make up the movie graph profile. So every trailer he watches, every movie he watch lists, every search is building this profile. And on top of that, these are not users that go on and watch on Kinox.to. Maybe they do, but we also know that they purchase for those content. So they actually spend money on it, and that's really valuable also for the industry to have, as you know that illegal streaming is a big problem for a lot of companies doing advertising, and so you want to make sure that you advertise on users who are willing to pay. This is where we are live at the moment. Last week we just launched South Korea. So this is overall we are counting 23 countries right now. and over 20 million movie graph profiles, as we call them. And to lead over to Snowplow, Dominik and I sat together at this point when we just launched the platform, and we say, okay, it's going to be there, and it's even growing further. So right now, more than 2.2 million profiles added. We're not counting out the revisits to the platform every month. So we were talking here. How do we set up our tech stack? What are we using? What's the technology? And there our journey to Snowplow began.
Our journey to Snowplow. That's how Snowplow came into the picture. But first, I think we have a little too much content for the 30 minutes we have now. I'm going to rush this a little, which is hopefully not so bad because most of you should already know how great Snowplow is. So. In 2015, early 2015, we sat together. We just had an app, we just had a website, and we knew that there was a lot to come. We wanted to build a solid campaign business on top of that, getting in some ad tech, and we needed a data pipeline. So with all the dreams that Christoph and the team had, we knew we would need raw data access. That was the first crystal clear point. You can't build audiences on aggregates. That's something that's completely impossible. We also wanted to be really fast. So we are basically self-funded. So we gave us 1 year of runway to actually validate everything. And that's why we needed to really start fast. Also, it wasn't just like Google Analytics site traffic or mobile traffic. It was all kinds of different traffic. Impressions, clicks, conversions, whatever. We needed a data model that's flexible enough in order to make all this happen. Also, we wanted arbitrary questions. We wanted all kinds of different stuff that we could do. So we wanted something that was SQL-based that we could actually access. And what would have been nice, on-premise, open source, and also scalable, those weren't some things that we were concerned about in the beginning because it was mostly about a prototype. Fun fact, our Snowplow Redshift is still called Kleine Datentonne, which is a little data barrel. Spoiler alert, it's still in production and we're chugging along pretty happily. I'll keep this one short. There was no real open source alternative on the market, and all the hosted managed services were simply either too expensive or too inflexible. So Google Analytics with raw data access was cool, but the price point for the traffic that we had in mind was prohibitive. So the alternative then is, of course, self-building. So every real company has a data pipeline. They build it themselves, right? Can't be so hard, but not so fast. That's actually a lot of work. So there's some tooling, some framework that helps you, just like data integration frameworks, but still, you end up building the very same thing. I helped build data pipelines for my video, for TradeMob, and eventually you see that everyone's doing the very same things, just slightly differently. So everyone's doing GeoIP, everyone's anonymizing their IP addresses, everyone's doing the same. And this is something where you just ask why. So we asked why, we chose Snowplow, and Snowplow doesn't look like every data pipeline, but eventually you realize every data pipeline that's great looks a little bit like Snowplow. And that's something that I came to really like. So for us, it was the perfect shot. It was a bundle collection of best practices, replaceable at every chain in the company, which is really cool. It's scalable. The guys at Live Intent have a lot more traffic than we do, and so we are really confident that we can scale into the max, standardized protocols, and a great balance. So we could get off the ground really fast, and that's how we did it. We went with a vanilla setup like CloudFront, EMR, Redshift, and I didn't even find the formidable cloud formation templates, so I went it all manually through the docs and everything, which were, they have their issues, but it was a great learning experience, and I was done in 2 days anyway. The next big thing was universal CRM, and that's something I coined. All our visitors are users. That's something that we took very, very, very highly. We wanted the same user experience for non-logged in users as well as for the logged in ones, because barely any users give you your data these days, and we really wanted actionable things on everyone who visited the site. That was a little bit hard technically because the domain user ID wasn't gettable or settable, so we ended up getting every user a UID, where we had to invent something else for the logins later on. But that was okay. We had slight starting problems on mobile as well because we have a hybrid app. It's all Cordova, and there was no plugin for iOS, Android tracker, so on. We ended up with a standard JavaScript tracker, which had some issues. Cookies didn't stick. We had to invent the mobile context all with ourselves, but in the end we got it done, and it went pretty well. So the result was we gave ourselves 4 weeks to see if it's a good solution. We were done in 3. That's really how awesome it was. We integrated it in the front end, and we had a complete data warehouse with everything in 3 weeks. That was pretty cool. All the good stuff, GeoIP anonymization was enabled by default, so that was a really great experience. And that was the magical moment when I basically gave the big keys to the data warehouse to Christoph and told him, let's see if we can run our campaign off that and actually provide some value to our clients.
So Dominik gave me the keys and said, okay, play around a bit. So that's what I did, and okay, it's not HTML, not HD, but I hope you can guess this part. No, first campaign we manually set up, took us 8 hours. It's just the simplest version of our campaign. We had to query all the parts of ourselves. We had to upload the things to Google and to Facebook. Actually, we have a Google vendor, a video certified vendor. We also a Facebook preferred marketing partner. So we are connected to the important APIs to be able to upload data and get data back. And just querying that took half the time, like approximately 4 hours. So what we do is we cluster those users. So we always have, we don't know if our campaign works up front, but we can go to our kleine Datentonne, to our data warehouse, and actually cluster those users and say, okay, there's 3 clusters that might like this movie, and then we will put those group up, and then we will see it actually performs. And this site shows the simplest scheme of how setup on Blue's Facebook Red is YouTube looks like when you want to do a campaign, upload a campaign that includes all exclusions and to manage your frequency cap. This is the scheme, and it took, like I said, it took 8 hours. It's approximately over 300 subtasks required, and 27 main steps. You see kind of a to-do list that we have for our campaigns, and we knew, okay, this is probably not scalable. That's why we built a lot of things on top. Dominik will explain later. Just to give you a brief scale of what we do, we have more than 500 campaigns. We will have a year, and we're talking 6 to 7 digit numbers here of advertising. So this meant to be quite big. And so we needed to handle it a bit more. But the first campaign, the output was not only that we received 3 times the watch time with hitting the right users, but so actually we seem compared to standard targeting, like Google offers, I don't know, movie fan targeting, or Facebook standard targeting, and that's what we get out, 3 times the watch hours, also cheaper in the prices. But the best thing is, so actually that's benchmark data from Google we had there. The best thing is we do ask, we have a big panel involved which asks the people if they really want to see the movie into the cinema, and this is what you get with demographic targeting, which is basically like you would you book TV or standard advertising, and this is what you get up with having like your own data. And yeah, and so we noticed after that, after this 8-hour marathon, just for setting it up, no controlling, no multiple campaigns, that we have to do a lot more.
So the nice thing was that we were actually on the right track. So that was a good thing. The bad thing was 8 hours. So it was clear we had to do something about that. Now I'm not sure which slide comes next. Yes. So, but that's not all. So while that happened, we also tried to grow the users of our site. And the guys like Christoph and David from Kaufda, they really built up some amazing growth hacking in order to make Kaufda big back then. Like push notifications, like all kinds of things. And the more we talked about it, the more it all seemed like it could use a unified solution. So some things that came up while we talked was just like display movie trailers to Facebook and YouTube users who added a horror movie to the watch list before. Or send a push notification with personal recommendations to mobile users that were active for at least 5 sessions but had no activity in the last 7 days. Or ask our top 5% most active power users a survey on what feature they want to see next. Or ask people who skip 3 comedy trailers on YouTube if they want to continue seeing trailers for the genre. So lots of very different questions that were based on general audiences, and it really cried for something in order to solve that problem. So we had to solve quite some sub-problems. The first one was clustering itself. So we had to somehow cluster these users into lists that we actually wanted to target. When we had that in lists, we wanted to connect with them on our own site, on different media, web, app, push, wherever. And in order to be able to do that, we needed to manage their identities. Because if I want to target you on Facebook, I need your mobile ad ID. If I want to send you a push notification, I need your push token. There's a lot of different identities involved. And since we were going for real-time bidding, that's a much deeper story. We've since given up on that because the inventory isn't there. But we designed it for real-time, so that was definitely possible. And the last one was closing the circle. So we didn't just want to interact with everyone, we just wanted to interact on the results of former interactions. So we wanted to actually close the whole circle, and that's when I came up with pretty much this. So on the left side we see the app. Everything that happens there goes into the tracker. ETL, Redshift, that's all the nice business that Snowplow powers to this day. And from there we have the audience builder that executes some SQL batch reportings every day and loads those lists of user segments into S3. From there we have the ID service that's based on Aerospike that translates into the target domain of the interaction. And the customer interaction really down there is anything. It's a campaign, it's a push notification, it's a customization, and if needed, we can translate back to our user ID, which is the nice thing because everything that is and happens in our data warehouse is always based on user ID, and that way it really closes the circle. So that was nice. So the audience builder, how did we do it technically? Actually, it's a pretty dumb thing that has a lot of bells and whistles. The first thing is we have query templates. Query templates are my favorite thing ever because they encapsulate the machine room. What you see there is basically a SQL query. If you look closely, you also see some Go, and maybe you see some SQL injections, but that's a different story. On the right-hand side, you see the JSON schema. That's a great idea that we took from Snowplow, JSON schema everywhere. We defined parameterizable parameters for the SQL, and that means that these query templates are the only things in the audience builder that you actually need a techie or a data analyst for, and from then on, specialist or a campaignee can basically just execute it. So the fun thing is there was an Angular component that could just build forms directly from JSON schema. We use that one, so you can basically just enter target date in the beginning. Oh, it's really not HD, my gosh. Yeah. So that's an app install. In the middle you see a validation with a regex that's not really working out. And we're building a user segment here that's basically downloaded in July 2016. And everyone can do that. So I built that user segment, and every day it will get back updated. And from then on, I can use it in every audience. So audience are the last thing, which are really cool because you can intersect, you can union, you can exclude things. Here we have basically triple X tough guys action, which is based on some action movies. We intersect that with all users who have filtered by Netflix, and intersect that with all the users who have not downloaded in July 2016. It basically calculates in near real time, just a few seconds, and we know how many users we can target. This is cool, but it's not complete. So when we have that, we have a list of users, but we don't know how to reach them yet. And that's where the ID service comes in. So the ID service is kind of the real-time companion to the audience builder, and can give us any mapping to any external ID and back within 3 milliseconds, which is nice. So it's basically all kinds of identities on the left side. They'll get mapped in real time to JustWatch ID. And in there we can have a metadata profile. If we want to push someone, we need to know his time zone, the language that he speaks, so we don't wake him up at 3 a.m., audience membership, user journey, kinds of aggregates, so we can use them in push notifications. That's kind of exactly what the ID service does for us. And together they really make it all possible. This is, you can't see anything on there, so it's pointless, but that's how it looks from the outside. Nice dashboard. The nice property about all of that is that all the interactions were in the end simply reduced to being plugins in a way. Sometimes they're very complex plugins, but in the end we just had to implement the interaction itself. So we looked for a nice service for push notifications that was internationalizable and audience capable. We didn't find anything, so we built it ourselves. It was really nice. Pull notifications is a nice concept. It's basically, informally I call it the JustWatch Tag Manager, because you can customize the site audience-based with everything. You can send in-app messages. You can send a survey to just some people that are in that audience, or you can customize the site. So the right one was in an A/B test just sent to horror users, and they reacted much more positively to that than the general audience. So just some of the things that were possible, and of course the campaign business. So we're uploading the audiences, getting some data back, tracking the clicks, RTB, special story. But in the end, what it does is actually gets measurable value for the client. Nice thing, because it's also a lot of traffic that comes in there. For our last campaign, when we finally switched on the data transfer, we really got to know 80% of Germany in a weekend. So there was some interesting numbers there, and we learned a lot. So learnings. First thing is question your real-time needs. Originally, this slide was called "Nobody Needs Real-Time," but I thought it was a little bit too confrontational, especially as Snowplow is really good at real-time. So this is but the real thing is, if you need to go stateful, like not just the event that you have at hand, but looking back to something else, like users that churned in a way, it's hard. So Snowplow Sauna, teasing it a little, is a really nice thing that we probably will use for real-time audiences later. But right now it didn't give us any benefit, because by choosing a non-real-time workflow that's completely batch-based, we could look at all the events that we wanted, and for us it didn't really make any difference. We had very few use cases where we would actually need to use real-time. So sometimes you just save a lot on resources when you don't actually need to do that. We extensively use session context with exactly that setup. If you get pushed, you get into the app. For that session, all the events will have a push context. Same goes for campaigns. They have a campaign context. Unfortunately, the tracker doesn't really support session context. I don't know why. It's a great thing. Sometimes we use up to 10 contexts per event, like when we have surveys, answer context, intent context, question context, whatever, plus the mobile context, plus the push, whatever. They're really cool. If you're using Snowplow, use them extensively. Really nice thing. Business intelligence fell off the truck. That's a biggie for me, because we broke the fundamental rule. We built our stuff based on what I call a raw data warehouse, and we loved it. The nice thing about that is we got business intelligence and a fully filled data warehouse for free. And what's so great about it, everyone cares about it. As soon as the complete business depends on it, everyone really cares, even the engineers, that the tracking is okay, that the quality is good, that the sanitation is there, that bad lines get treated. That's the great thing about it. Since we have a unified data source, data pipeline, that was the best thing ever. And that all fit very well into the Power Tools philosophy that we really value. It's first smart data, not all the data, not big data. Sometimes it's big data, but the most important thing is get the right data. Smart tools, which is we try to build really as many tools as possible, get them for internal use, even if they're a little rough around the edge. And we can do that because we're always working with smart people, so rather release them internally than fine polish them for weeks at an end. So it's always early out, fail early, beta testing. And yeah, we couldn't do anything without smart people, so shameless plug here. Of course, we're hiring head of business intelligence. If you know someone who's really great, just shoot us a line. And that's it already. So thanks very much. Questions?
First, apologies for just speaking when you start to talk, but I was very interested. How do you bridge the gap without going into the dark gray zone, if not dark zone, about building user IDs without a login across devices? Or don't you? What I understood, you basically do.
Not across devices, partly when we have the login data. So we do have logins, and if we have logins, we use our own first-party data in order to...
So you treat anonymous visitors per device as users, and some of these users are duplicated, and once they log in, you can put them...
Exactly. Sometimes it's also not possible. So sometimes in the app, we get a mobile app ID, and if the same user on the same device is in the mobile web, we don't know if that cookie is that app ID. There are some things where we are thinking on how to go further with that. But right now, that's totally okay, because for our use cases, it's good enough. Right. So in the end, we're working with Google, we're working with Facebook, and if we shoot them both, they unify it because they have the user ID, and they will frequency cap on the same user. So in that way, it was exactly the same.
Okay. Second question, just quickly, because you mentioned that you base on first-party data. Yeah. If I'm looking at a trailer on YouTube, yeah. How do you have access on YouTube data? Or do you?
Because we vendor, we get it back.
You get it directly.
We get it back, and what is meant in the first place is that the data we're campaigning on is coming from JustWatch, our own apps. We own them. That's
so targeting data is first-party data.
At first, we get back the performance data, and we get back. We can basically see when our own ID, we know, okay, it's this user, this cookie was doing that, but you need to be a certified vendor for that, and you need to go through the whole health process of...
You did that in less than a year. That's impressive.
We did it in less than a year.
Congrats. All right. Very impressive. Thank you.
Questions?
Why Snowplow? Why is the name of the company Snowplow?
Sorry?
Why is the name of the company or your product Snowplow? Is the story behind it?
Why is the name of the company Snowplow? I think it's a question
for the Snowplow guys.
It's a metaphor. The idea is that each data point is a snowflake. And Snowplow is this big chunky machine that will push your data.
And puts all the data away.
I've got a quick question about, can you tell us a little bit about the clustering process? How did you build those behavioral segments? What was the...
From the business side or from the technical side?
From the business side.
From the business side. Yeah, first things start with thesis as always. We have our own thesis of when there's a certain movie, which genre is it based on, and then we go into the audience builder and see what can be narrow clusters. At first, it's really common sense. Say, okay, if there's a horror movie, you search for the people who had a look quite often, or a search or a watch list, or who interacted quite often with certain horror movies, or for example, who had a click out on Netflix, who bought it on Amazon, something like that. This is the first thing we go to, and then we put them to one cluster, and then we go broader. Since we are working with clients together, they have their own imagination, and it's a good thing. We can build a cluster that comes from the client. We can say, okay, I want to this movie, this actor, there's tons of pieces. But yeah, we say, yeah, we put them in and we see how it performs, and then we can see if we can scale a campaign. Well, I just showed you the cinema intent as we call it. So there's a high likelihood that the people want to watch us because they've just said it. And there will be, we plan on, of course, a few intelligence there. So we plan on having a recommender as well to find similarities in between those classes and between users. But that's the next step. That's also why we're hiring data specialists and the BI guys and girls. So someone wants to do this next step with us, we invite you.
Anybody else? Questions?
How do you tell if somebody skipped a trailer twice? There was a CRM use case skipped a trailer twice.
Yes, again, it's also the data we get back. There's a skipping point, you get the data point to the movie.
So if the trailer is 2 minutes and they watch more than a minute, then they count it as not skipping it.
Yeah, you get the full view back as well. So, but usually you get Google has true views. I think so. 30 seconds, everything after 30 seconds counts, and whoever skips is shooting in own data. So we know that.
What is the business model of the company?
Business model, yeah. This what I just said. We are doing campaigns, and if we work on we guarantee, for example, what the amount of people we can reach, and for example, the amount of trailer views, and we guarantee them at a certain price. And if we do a good job, we usually do, we earn some money with it. If we do a bad job, we pay on top because we have to deliver the numbers. So that's what we do. But we get a certain budget and we do some estimations with the client, say we can deliver that. If we do good, we earn. And if we do bad, we have to pay for that.
So basically, movie studios just buy trailer campaigns on YouTube or Facebook with us.
To make that easier, clients is the studios of this world, the Warners, the Foxes, the Sonys, they pay us.
But the creative work is from them?
Yeah.
The creative work is done.
We are just the data guys and the campaign guys, and so we create work together. Usually we get a lot of questions like this. We have free trailers, which one works best, and we test it for them on certain classes. But we stick out of this because creative talk is not.
Yeah, but that impacts your performance.
It impacts our performance, and we give our, let's say, we always say we give recommendations. We won't never like sneak into like how do you cut this trailer. So we can just say it's probably because of that, but we leave the interpretation when the data is clear to them what they want to do. And we just say, okay. Yeah, it's risks we take, but usually it isn't as bad that we can't fulfill our numbers because that's why we have an estimation process to follow.
Okay.
Thank you, Dominik and Christoph, for this great talk.